Brought to you by Pennzoil Motor Oil. When your car is worth caring for, Pennzoil is worth asking for. That's Bill Muncie, the world's winningest hydroplane race driver. He's won 44 unlimited class races, 6 gold cups, and is a 5-time national champion. Bill, why do you use Pennzoil motor oil?
Hey, Pete, I've used Pennzoil motor oil for over 20 years. This Rolls-Royce fire breather delivers 3,000 horsepower with a propeller speed of 14,000 RPM. It's virtually trying to tear itself apart. Usually the engine that hangs together will win the race. Pennzoil motor oil hangs in there for me from flag to flag.
Pennzoil motor oil. Quality lubrication for people who take chances, but not with their motor oil. And quality protection for you and for me. When your engine is worth caring for, Pennzoil motor oil is worth asking for.
Unlimited hydroplanes, called Thunderboats by the in-crowd, are the largest and fastest, and probably the noisiest of all race boats. At high speed, a hydroplane is part boat and part airplane, as almost all of it is on top of the water. On the straightaway, just the back edge of a sponson on each side and the bottom blade of the propeller are all that touch the water. These hydroplanes are the largest machines built solely for racing. Racing these monsters is the most unlimited form of racing in the world. There are no restrictions on the size or number of engines. The hull must be at least 28 feet long and weight 4,000 pounds. Other than that, they have to meet rigorous safety and technical inspections. Before a boat can compete, it has to qualify by making one lap faster than the speed set for that particular course. Today's hydroplanes are capable of speeds of up to 200 miles an hour, and the oval racing record is almost 128. In the late 40s, a Boeing engineer designed a hull that had aerodynamic principles as well as the marine. It was named Slow Motion 4 and raised the straightaway record almost 20 miles per hour to 160 miles per hour, and lapped all the other boats in the 1950 Gold Cup race. This new design set the style of racing boat hulls in the 1950s and 60s. Bill Muncie is the defending national champion and number 2 in the point standings. He's won 6 races this year with his new boat Atlas Van Lines and looks like a favorite. Bill, what makes your boat so good?
I'm inclined to think that a lot of people have really enjoyed watching the Atlas Van Lines run this year because it's been an innovative machine. It's been a very exciting one. It hasn't been able to really extend itself yet because the guy who drives it is just really getting to a point where he feels confident in it. And frankly, to abuse the personal pronoun, I just got to say that it's going to take me a little more time to a point where I feel everything that's happening to me riding in the bow. It's kind of scary, because you don't have any reference points. Sitting aft, you've got an engine sits up there, you know, and if it gets out of shape or anything, you see the engine move and you can make the right correction. Sitting in a bow, you're deprived of that reference point, and with all that water passing under your stern so fast, it's pretty exciting, and you got to measure the limits of the boat pretty well. But we've come down here to San Diego, and I think that certainly it's been able to establish one world record for a qualifying lap of a little over 129. I'm inclined to think it probably could still, with a little help from Mother Nature, turn 130 or 31. And I think that it'll probably run in the race really well. Whether there's a superstition associated with racing, I don't know. I'm not a superstitious guy. I do know, however, that San Diego is my home course, and I haven't really been able to put together a win here. I've been certainly in contention, but I have not been able to win here, and we're really looking forward to a real high-spirited, victorious experience this afternoon.
How are your chances against Nikki Raymond in the Miss Bud?
Well, I think it's excellent. When you have a boat like the Budweiser or the Anheuser-Busch Natural Light, they're both capable of breaking world's records, and the Budweiser's been breaking records everywhere they go around the country. So when you have 2 or 3 boats doing it, you know the competition is pretty darn good. We've got 10 strong boats here, and we've got a supporting crowd numbering well over 100,000 on shore, so it should be a pretty exciting afternoon for everybody.
The heat races are decided by draw. A maximum of 6 boats can run in any one race, so Heat 1A runs half of the boats, and Heat 1B runs the remaining half. The winners gain points, and the 6 boats with the most points get to run in the final race of the day. There are a total of 4 heat races today. The first race of the day is about to begin. 5 boats are getting ready to start their engines. Nikki Raymond is in the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer is driving the Squire, Jack Schaefer with the Vans PX, Ron Snyder with the Old Ox, and Bill Worcester with the Oberto. Each driver is building points, and the boat with the most points wins the national championship. The start is activated by the giant timing clock. Engines are started, and drivers' watches are set at 5 minutes to the start. And they're off and running. Nikki Raymond in the Miss Bud takes the lead at the wire and going into the first turn, followed closely by the Squire, Old Ox is third, and the Vans PX is fourth, followed by the Oberto. The objective of each boat driver is to be running full speed at the starting line when the clock gets to 0. If the boat driver jumps the gun, he has to do 1 extra lap. Each race consists of 6 laps around the 2.5-mile course, a total of 15 miles. Miss Bud, ably handled by Nikki Raymond, pulls ahead. Chip Hanauer is second in his cab over. He's now being passed by the white Old Ox. The Vans PX is trailing poorly. It looks like Nikki Raymond in Bud may pass him going into the last lap. Miss Bud and Nikki Raymond are holding a good lead, followed by the Old Ox, jockeying with Squire for second place. Jack Schaefer is a poor fourth, followed by the Oberto. Jack Schaefer's engine has been giving him fits, and he grinds to a halt with a blown engine. And it's Nikki Raymond and Miss Budweiser winning after leading all the way. The Old Ox is second, and third is the Squire. Unlimited hydroplane racing has enjoyed public popularity since the beginning in 1903 at 19 miles an hour. The magic 100-mile-per-hour propeller-driven straight speed mark was set in 1931 by the highly revered Gar Wood in Miami, Florida.
We're going to make an attempt in a few minutes to break the world record.
Gar Wood built this boat called the Miss America, and it was powered by 3 Packard aircraft engines. He not only broke the 100-mile-per-hour mark, but won the Gold Cup and the renowned British Harmsworth trophies. The 200-mile-per-hour mark was broken in 1955 by Donald Campbell with a jet-powered speedster at Loch Coniston, Scotland. The hydroplane purists feel that a propeller-driven boat is the only way to fly, however. The propeller that drives today's boats is a tiny 13 inches in diameter, turns at about 12,000 RPM, and costs 1,500 scooties each. Today's boats use either the Allisons or the Rolls-Royce Merlin, both war surplus aircraft engines. They were originally planned to last 300 hours before overhaul, but in racing they are literally trying to tear themselves apart, and 1 hour to an overhaul is about par. The sport of boat racing is not without its dangers and upsets. Perhaps that's what makes the sport so tantalizing to those who can afford it, and to those dedicated race fans who come from near and far to enjoy it. Bill Muncie is probably the only race driver who has sunk a Coast Guard cutter in Seattle in 1950. The attrition of hot metal, splintered plywood, and torn flesh is mute testimony to the multiple risks associated with high speeds in the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing. The slow-motion boat was fast, and it was also capable of advanced aerobatic maneuvers. The second race finds the defending national champion Bill Muncie in the Blue Atlas Van Lines boat facing off against Howie Benz in the white Natural Light, John Petty in the yellow Miss Madison, and Tom Martin in the yellow Pacific Datsun. Bill Muncie and his Blue Atlas takes their favorite inside lane and have a good lead at the start, followed at a respectful distance by Natural Light, and then Miss Madison. Tom Martin wasn't able to get the Datsun down to the line for the opening gun. Howie Benz is number 3 in the point standings and hasn't won a national championship yet. And we asked him how he felt about this race course.
Nice long straightaways and good radius in the corners. Just a little wind problem, the crosswind into the first turn, but you got a little problem everywhere in every course that you run on, and it's just something we have to live with.
What do you think of your chances to beat Bill Muncie, Howie?
It's going to be very competitive for sure. Bill Muncie's running good in the Atlas fan lanes, and Nikki Raymond's good in a Budweiser. It's all he has to do is get 600 points this weekend, and he's got the national championship sewed up. And the Atlas Van Lines will be in second, and Natural Light Boat will be in third. And on the final heat, we're just going to go out there and see if we can win.
Bill Muncie and Atlas lapped the Miss Madison. This boat of Muncie's has got to be one of the world's fastest. When it's running good, which is most of the time, nobody can pass him. All these engines use a supercharger to cram more air and fuel into the cylinders. When the boat's propeller jumps out of rough water, a direct drive blower will overspeed, called blowing a supercharger. And that's probably what's happened to the Pacific Datsun, or he has some other kind of gremlin. And Bill Muncie's Atlas wins by over a mile lead. Natural Light is second, and John Petty is a slow third. Nikki Raymond was the national champion in 1973 when he drove this Pride of Pay and Pack hydroplane to 4 race wins and numerous speed records. Nikki has been leading in points throughout the season, driving Miss Budweiser, but Bill Muncie and Atlas are snapping at his tail feathers. Nikki, what do you think your chances are in winning this race?
Well, we've already run our first heat. Everything's comfortable. Of course, we're trying to work our way for the national championship, which means that the way we stand right now, we have 2 more races coming up. The second preliminary race, and these 2 qualify you for the nationals, for the final event, which is a winner-take-all in the final. We're trying to win the nationals this year, and right as it stands, Budweiser needs 200 more points to ensure ourselves winning the national championship and being number 1 for the year. Hopefully we can do that in our next heat. And if we do, of course, then the final heat, we'll be able to run as hard as we want to, and hopefully we can beat Muncie and the Atlas Van Lines in the final heat.
What kind of a threat does Bill Muncie and Atlas pose to you?
Well, the Atlas Van Lines is light and it's extremely fast. We haven't strained the Budweiser at all here at San Diego this week. We've been taking it very easy on equipment. I feel that the final heat, we're going to be running laps well up in the 120 mile an hour, probably 123 or 124 miles an hour. It's going to be fast. It's going to be a handful. I know Bill can do it. I know we can do it. And really, to say who's going to win it, an awful lot depends on that start.
Now we're getting ready for the third heat race where we find the champion Bill Muncie in the Blue Atlas boat once again, facing off this time against top point leader Nikki Raymond in the Budweiser, Chip Hanauer in the White Squire, and Bill Worcester in the Oberto. At the start, Bill Muncie takes the lead in his favorite inside lane, followed closely in a good start by Mickey Raymond and Bud and the Squire. Bill Muncie gives the Atlas a shot of nitro and pulls ahead in the back straightaway. Bud trails behind, followed by the Squire. The Atlas and the Squire boats with engines behind the driver are known as cab overhauls. There's lots of controversy between drivers on this design. Some like the better visibility and lack of engine heat and noise, while others don't like to be the first on the scene of an accident. Oberto is a slow last and might be lapped by Atlas. The wild wake of white water is called a rooster tail and is made by the propeller blade flailing water aside. Getting in the wake can drown an engine. Atlas maintains a good lead over Miss Bud and passes Oberto. Chip Hanauer is holding on to a close third. Budweiser passes Alberta with a full lap lead. Bill Worcester appears to be having engine problems, and Bill blows the engine of his Alberto. That's about 10 grand going up in smoke. Bill Muncie in the Atlas band lines wins it going away at the final gun. Nikki Raymond in Miss Bud is a slow second, and the Squire is a game third. Jim Lucero is Bill Muncie's crew chief and is the best in the world according to Bill Muncie. Jim designed and built the Atlas boat. Tell us about it.
The boat's got a new style airfoil. It's built of graphite epoxy skins and aluminum honeycomb core that is built by the Boeing Company in Seattle, Washington, and it's significantly lighter and much stronger than the one on our old boat. We hope that this will give us some more advantage as far as being able to trim the boat better and make it handle better going down the straightaways. The boat's powered by a Rolls-Royce aircraft motor. It's a V12 1600 cubic inch Rolls-Royce. It was used in World War II in the fighter aircraft. This thing makes about 3,000 horsepower and turns about 4,000 RPM. It's able to push our boat about 170 miles an hour in the straightaways. With the new boat design and along with that aircraft power and Bill Muncie's driving, we hope to be able to average around 130 miles an hour on a 2.5-mile course.
The fourth and last heat race consists of Howie Benz in the white Natural Light, Jack Schaefer in the yellow Vans PX, Ron Snyder in the white Old Ox, and Tom Martin Pacific Datsun. The Old Ox takes the start, followed by Howie Benz. Jack Schaefer blows the engine of Vans PX at the start, and Tom Martin couldn't get his Datsun started, so it's a race of two, the Old Ox and Natural Light. The Old Ox is leading well, ably driven by Rookie of the Year Ron Snyder. He's about a half a mile ahead of Natural Light. Ron Snyder has a turbocharger and an Allison engine in his Old Ox. A turbocharger is less affected by overspeed. The turbo is turned by the exhaust gases and won't run away when the propeller jumps out of the water. The razor-sharp tips turn about 35,000 RPM. Lap 4, Ron Snyder and the Old Ox are still leading by half a mile. Oh, his engine cuts out. Did he blow it? No, Ron's able to get the Allison started again and is still able to lead. It looks like he was waiting for the Natural Light to catch up. It's an easy win for Ron Snyder and the Old Ox. Howie Benz is second in the Natural Light. And now we are ready for the big race of the day, the finale of the racing season. This one will decide the winner. Will Bill Muncie and his new Atlas win it, or will Nikki Raymond and Miss Budweiser take the title away from him? The boats and drivers are getting ready. The champion Bill Muncie is in his blue Atlas, facing off against top point leader Nikki Raymond in the Budweiser. Chip Hanauer in his white Squire, Howie Benz in the white Natural Light, John Petty in the yellow Miss Madison, Ron Snyder with the Old Ox, and Bill Worcester with the Alberto. And it's the start of the big one. Atlas is in the outside lane, which is not where he usually likes to be. Nikki Raymond is pulling ahead. So is Natural Light. What's the matter with Bill Muncie? Can anybody see? The Atlas is slowing down. He's not going into the turn. Everybody has passed him. He has blown his engine. That can ruin your whole day. That looks like the end of the race, ladies and gentlemen, for Bill Muncie. Mickey Raymond takes a nice lead thanks to the gremlin in Bill Muncie's Rolls-Royce. Now, if Mickey can keep the Bud's Rolls-Royce running, he's got it made. It's a second-place battle between the white Old Ox and the white Natural Light. John Petty is running fourth. The Squire is trailing. These big V12 engines that power these boats are war surplus from World War II. A surprisingly good supply of these aircraft engines exists. The problem is finding mechanics to work on them. No one is training mechanics for World War II aircraft engines anymore. The Budweiser holds their big lead. Natural Light passes the Old Ox and is now running in second place. Miss Madison is holding down fourth. Ron Snyder hears a strange noise, looks down and says, "Something's wrong." And the Old Ox comes to a roaring stop. Ron says something like, "Oh, son of a gun," and looks to see if he can spot the source of the Old Ox's pain. Kick it, Ron. Natural Light is holding the number 2 spot. The alternate is Oberto, and he's still running, now being lapped by Nikki Raymond and Bud. Squire is in third, and Miss Madison is still holding fourth. And Nikki Raymond and the Miss Budweiser wins the San Diego Gold Cup and the Unlimited National Championship. Howie Benz wins second place with a Natural Light, and Chip Hanauer comes in third in the Squire. Mickey Raymond of Palm Desert, California, wins his second national championship, ladies and gentlemen, with his boat Miss Budweiser topping 5-time champion Bill Muncie and all the rest of the Thunderboat drivers. A disappointed Bill Muncie has his Atlas towed on in to explain to an equally disappointed crew chief, Jim Lucero, that a Garfunkel pin let go when he poured the coal to it on the opening straightaway. Jim says they just don't make Garfunkel pins like they used to. Well, that's racing, and there's always next year and a new champion to beat. And that champion is Mickey Raymond, driving the Miss Budweiser, a new national champion and winner of the San Diego Gold Cup. That's the way it is at the Thunderboat Spectacular. And I'm Mario Machado for Thrillmaker Sports on location in San Diego, California.
Brought to you by Pennzoil Motor Oil. When your car is worth caring for, Pennzoil is worth asking for.